Hello, welcome to the new video of Dynasty where we talk about enhancing skill or not. And today we're going to talk about Huang Zhong. Huang Zhong is obviously a very useful hero that a lot of people use in the early game as well as in the late game as well. Many people use him and Guojia together. It's a sniper duo, as I like to call them. A lot of people used to use them to snipe the headquarter, which I think people still do. It's still doable because, well, it's harder to do because there is the defense academy that buff buildings HP, and that makes it more difficult. And even before that, it's already pretty difficult if you only use both of them, because you need to land at least two of their skill for both of them. And having the awakened and partnership satisfied version of Huang Zhong makes it much easier because he does get a lot of damage. And as you can see right here, each arrow does 2,327 damage, and these arrows can do damage to multiple target. Like each arrow can do multiple damage uh, to targets around the area. And each building, there is a chance that it could get hit by 2 or even 3 arrow. The chances are very slight that you get 3 arrows hit on the same target, but it is possible. So if you're lucky, that can happen. But other than that, this is a very strong and very simple skill. Just do a bunch of damage in the targeted area, and 2,300 damage is a lot. However, the other thing that you have to remember is that this damage do depend on the damage partnership, and the damage partnership is the hardest one to get in here. It's the second one. You need both Guan Yu and Zhao Yun, who are unparalleled heroes. Obviously, that partnership already took 4 out of 7 stars already, 2 unparalleled and 2 common. And the awakening skill, which is a weird one, it increased his own attack for 120% for 10 seconds. So earlier I was thinking, okay, well, how does this actually help? Because you only get 10 seconds after the skill to do this damage, because it's only auto attack damage. And Archer hero has a base attack speed of 1 second per attack. So at most you can attack 10 times with this crazy amount of damage. And I don't see really how good it is, because obviously, in the 10 seconds you might be moving, so you're not going to have too many attacks being dealt anyways. Obviously you can have other stuff to improve this ability as well, but before you even calculate those things, let's look at his base stats. The DPS is 490, which is the lowest of all Archer hero, I believe. So it's already a low number, okay? It's not the highest that you can get with Archer hero. I think they can go up to like 500 something. And giving him another 120% damage obviously is useful to him, but again, how much of that time is he actually spending to auto attack? And I think most people don't play him like that. Most people play his skill because it's very strong. But we are going to calculate how useful his skill and his awakening skill is in just a little bit. But I know in this video usually I talk about enhancing skill after awakening. But then another point is, should you even awaken Huang Zhong if you don't have the partnership? That's a very difficult question, because it's not easy to get that partnership, and when you do get that partnership, Huang Zhong might not be your priority to awaken. And before you get those partnership, is getting him really worth it? It's up to you guys. But let's take a look at the math. Okay, so right here again I listed the damage for 10 out of 10 and 15 out of 15 for a Huang Zhong without partnership and with partnership. So without partnership at 10 out of 10 it's only 1565, and without partnership at 15 out of 15 it's 1964. So that's the 10 extra level and 5 extra skill, and the difference, or I guess the improvement, is only 399. Now with partnership you can go up to 1880 before awakening, which is a crazy amount for a hero that is before awakening, and that is very close to the 15 out of 15 without partnership. It's only 80 away, and you can go up to 2,327. So the increase will be 447. So right here I also listed the damage if you have the skill damage attribute from your hero seal, and right here without partnership plus 30% will be these two number. Basically, you take these two and just add 1.3 into times 1.3, and you get these number. And then this is the partnership satisfied, and then 30%. And this is a crazy thing. It can go up to 3,000 damage per arrow. He can shoot he does shoot 6 arrows, and each arrow can do damage to multiple targets. And this is a big amount from a common 7-star. 3,000 damage. If you hit 2 of these arrows on the headquarter, that's 6,000 damage already. It's basically almost the whole headquarter. And if you have, 3,000 damage can destroy a Purgatory Tower without treasure. I think it could also destroy some magic crossbow. It can definitely destroy Thunder Formation even with some HP, not 300%. Because I think Thunder Formation have a base of like around 1,000. So with if their Thunder Formation have less than 200% HP, you can destroy one of those with this, which is a crazy strong skill. Again, this is only a common 7-star. So is it really worth it to upgrade his original skill? And I would say yes, because he started with a big amount. Okay, he started with 1880. Just at level 50 and 10 out of 10 with the hero seal, he can do 2,400 something damage already, which is more than just 15 out of 15 without the hero seal. So for example, if because one account I have this, one account I have this. And if for my account with the damage partnership, if I can get a hero seal that does 30% damage to the skill, he can already do more damage than just getting him up to 15 out of 15, which is an insane, crazy damage. So it is obviously worth upgrading his skill. Now, obviously, the improvement is only 447. Usually, half of it will go to the 5 skill level, and then the other half goes to the 10 extra level you get. So that's about 200 something from the 5 level. So maybe each level you get around 50 to 60. Again, you're not just getting that, you're getting 30% extra as well. So it is a good deal because every time you level that up, you get a little bit more. Okay, when you have the hero seal that give you that damage boost. So any number within this range is already extremely great, and that is why you want to upgrade it as much as possible, because this is what this hero is for. Okay, if you play it like this, so there's no reason why you don't do it, unless it gives you like 10 extra damage, which it doesn't. It gives you 50 to 40, 50 damage. Is a good deal. 6 arrows, that's a couple hundred damage together. But more importantly, these damage, even maybe like 100 of these, will matter in a higher level gameplay because of how much HP the buildings have. But this is pretty straightforward, and it's pretty low requirement. This is a difficult get, the 30% on the hero seal. But other than that, you just need to upgrade his skill. And right here, before we go into too much other stuff, let's talk about the Awakening skill. Awakening skill, you start at 40%. Each time you get is 20%, I believe. And you can go up to 120. Again, I listed the without partnership and with partnership base DPS. So without partnership, the base DPS is 377. With partnership, is 490. And you can see what the damage is with the corresponding Awakening level. So if you have a 490 DPS, which is just a level 60, with damage partnership, and then a 5 out of 5, after he uses skill for the next 10 seconds, his attack is actually a 1000 damage. So it's actually pretty strong, again, for a common 7-star to have, especially this is an archer hero. Archer hero has the lowest DPS, and in fact I think Huang Zhong probably is the lowest DPS in all 7-star, because he is an archer hero and probably the weakest archer hero in terms of rarity. So he has the lowest DPS, but however, somehow he can go up to like 1,000 damage, which is close to Sword Hero DPS. Well, Sword Hero's actual damage per strike. So this is pretty amazing for the next 10 seconds. Okay, maybe he only shoot like 2 or 3 times, but that might be enough to save his life. You don't know if he is one-on-one in a different hero, then this will be very helpful. So here I listed the 36%, which is from the treasure that you can get. For Archer Hero, it can go up to 36%. It's a star attribute, and you can see the amount. It can go up to 1400, which is an insane amount for each time you hit. How again, I didn't calculate the attack speed in here, so you can do this even faster. What that means is you can have a higher DPS in that case. Now, one thing I want to note that this calculation is different from how I usually calculate my DPS, because in here what I did is I first take the 120% and then the 36%. Okay, or the other way, it doesn't matter. Okay, basically what I did is I multiplied the 36% and I multiplied the 120%. But before, I usually do my math not like that. I usually add them together and then multiply, which is a more conservative way and which is probably the wrong way to do it. But because there's no way I can really test how they do the math. For example, usually when I did my math for Sima Yi, I would add the treasure percentage with his buff together, so I get like 100 something percent, and then I multiply them together. Not multiply that percent with the DPS. That's usually how I do it, but that's a conservative way. It's a smaller number. It's an underestimate, which I think it's better to do an underestimate than doing an overestimate. But in this case, I actually multiply the treasure and then multiply by the buff. Might be the accurate way, but you will get a higher number definitely. So I'm not sure, but I'm just saying it right here. But this is basically the awakening seal. It's pretty straightforward. Again, you can multiply. You can easily get the DPS like that. But we should look at, because just looking at this doesn't really help you decide if you want to do this, because again, for the next 10 seconds, what is Huang Zhong gonna do? Maybe he spend the next 10 seconds walking around. Then this is useless. So let's take a look right here. I listed the DPS. I listed the treasure, 36%. If you have a lower one, then you have a lower one. Okay, we will see the number, and then I have a hero seal right here that gives you 100 DPS. I don't know how difficult this is to get. Maybe it's very easy, maybe it's difficult, I don't know, but I'll just put 100 right here. So you can see the damage increase from 490 to 666 to 766. Now if you have the attack speed 25%, then your attack speed becomes 0.8 seconds per attack. Your new DPS is 958. Now with the 120%, which comes from here, this number, each hit plus 120% will give you 1600 per hit. So your new DPS is now 2000. So why do I have to calculate all these things differently? Because the life steal regenerating 16% is 16% of the DPS and not the actual damage. So that's 16% of this number, which is 300 something, which is a pretty good amount. If he can be attacking anything during that 10 seconds, then he will be regenerating 300 something per hit. And he actually takes 0.8 seconds to hit, so each second the regenerating per second is higher. And if he can hit for the whole 10 seconds, he will regenerate 4000 HP. He only has 3100, 200 HP, but if you have hero seal, you have treasure, then you can get more HP. But this is still a crazy amount. That means he can get attacked and still be able to survive for maybe 10 seconds and continue to do a pretty good amount against the enemy hero. Usually, as I said, this is probably only useful against the enemy hero, or maybe you're trying to destroy the headquarters and Huang Zhong is the last person that can finish that job. So in that case, that will be very useful. But other than that, if you're just attacking like basic normal buildings, most buildings will get destroyed 1 or 2 hit with this damage, 1600 damage. So I don't see that, because if he attack buildings, he will attack and then move, attack and then move. He will definitely not attack for more than 10 times during the buff. So that's one thing. But again, right here, this is already a pretty difficult get already, because you need the treasure. You need 3 attributes from the treasure. Okay, and these are maxed out. These are the highest thing you can get: 36% damage, 25% attack speed, 16% life steal. These are the top numbers you can get. And I mean, you can still get it because it's only 3. You can always lock 2 and get 3. you can't lock 3 and get the 4th one. But obviously in this case, obviously the 4th thing you want is probably HP. I don't even know what else you want. Maybe, I don't know, spawning archers, because you can't, obviously you cannot take advantage of the cooldown because this is an active skill. But it's already, as I said, this is pretty difficult to get already, and somehow just a hero C already. Let's say if you have a weaker one and then you have no attack speed, you're already getting so much less. You only get 250, right? If you don't even have lifesteal, I think lifesteal starts at 8%, so maybe you have like a 10%. Yeah, this is nothing. 156. I mean, one archer tower hit take away more HP than that. So that's like, again, this is a high ask already, getting this much of a damage. So what is the next thing that you can do with this? What is the next thing that you can put with Huang Zhong to make this extremely powerful? If you have the hero seal that gives you 100% attack speed when your HP goes below 30%, this is going to be insane. Again, this is going to be insanely difficult to get as well. You still need the treasure, but you also need a very nice hero seal as well. So again, this attack speed buff I included after the initial buff from the treasure, and that's why you see the initially it goes to 0.8, but with the 100% it drops to 0.4. If I just add them together 125%, the math will not turn out like this. But in this case, the damage per hit will be the same. DPS will be different because you hit faster now. The damage is still the same, but the DPS is insanely higher. Which, well, I mean, by that I mean 2 times. And then your lifesteal basically goes up again because, again, by 2 times. The lifesteal, as it says in the attribute in the treasure, it says it's 16% of the DPS, not 16% of the damage per hit. So you actually need to know the DPS at that point. So you get 600 HP, regenerate 600 HP per hit, and within 1 second you can hit 2.5 times. So you're healing a crazy amount. This is an insane amount of HP over the 10 seconds if Huang Zhong can continuously attack, and that means he could continuously take a bunch of damage. He can take over 1,000 damage per second and still be able to survive. But again, this is extremely difficult to get. You need 3 maxed out treasure attribute, and then you need a maxed out hero seal as well, which is way difficult to get. I mean, it started at 40%. The lowest is 40%. I mean, it's still a great amount. 400 HP per hit. That's pretty good. I mean, if you get anything better, like 60%, I mean, you're healing 1,000 per second, 80. That's even better, right? It's probably doable, but the investment is so much higher. Investment is, okay, you need the 3 attribute treasure, you need this hero seal. I mean, you can get a better damage here probably, and you need to get them up to 5 out of 5. If that's the route you're going, then you should upgrade this part first. You should upgrade your awakening skill first. If not, then you should probably upgrade the skill first, because most people use Huang Zhong is using his skill, wanting to do the damage, and this is a much lower investment, right? Just upgrading the 5 extra level, it could probably cost less than upgrading the 5 awakening skill, and you only need 1 hero seal, and you don't need treasure. So this is obviously easier to do. Again, getting 30% might not be as easy, but anything, I mean, 20-something% will be pretty good as well. Just like you don't need 100% here, 80-something 9% will be very strong already. But 2 ways to play Huang Zhong, 2 pretty different way to play just a basic common 7-star, and I'm interested to see how this will turn out. Unfortunately, I don't know when will I ever awaken a Huang Zhong. Hopefully the next one will be Huang Zhong, and then I could try some of these out. If I have the treasure, if I have a hero seal, that will work. I really want to do this because as I did this map, this seems extremely powerful, and I just want to know how it is going to work. So, but this is it for this video. Let me know if you have Huang Zhong, if you have awakened Huang Zhong, are you going to use it like this? How are you going to use them? And do you think the map is done like this? Okay, multiply by 1 and then multiply by the other, or add them together and then multiply to the base stat. So, but again, yes, this is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.